Welcome to New Music Today. I'm your host, Corey Robertson. We are on the WePodcast network and sponsored this time around by Brady's Drugstore, located at 190 Chisholm Street in Bell River and 186 Talbot in Essex, the friendliest pharmacist in Essex County. Come talk to Dr. Tim, that's Tim Brady, the pharmacist, and he'll take very good care of you. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of New Music Today, and our first with the video portion. Somebody finally allowed me to get in front of a camera. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Music inspires and gives us the power to change lives. Music transports you back in time to places and people that have come and gone. It wakes up something inside of our subconscious, and it allows us to feel what hurts us, what we have to celebrate, and what moves us. Some people will even tell you that music saved their life. It's just that powerful. So this week we're talking to musician and entrepreneur Charles Diab about making a life and a living in music and being in business, and how he has a new lease on life. Plus, we'll have him play a few of our favorite songs, and we'll get some live performance from him and his singing and playing partner, Sam Sly. We start the show with a look at this week in music history. This week in music history, it was on September the 17th of 1977 that the Supremes topped the chart 10 years after breaking up with an album called 20 Golden Greats. And the album featured 7 number one hits, including some classics. Where Did Our Love Go? Baby Love, Stop in the Name of Love, You Can't Hurry Love, and Love Child. It's a lot of love. But the album is important for two real reasons. On half of the songs, they actually have to change officially the name of the artist from the Supremes to Diana Ross and the Supremes. And much like Let It Be by the Beatles, this album somewhat documents on vinyl the breakup of a band. It's also an important album because it's really the first time that an album of greatest hits tops the charts. And the fact that it was 10 years after the band broke up, it lays the framework and a solid business case for making greatest hits albums. It was on September the 18th of 1990, NKOTB, it's New Kids on the Block. They make it 9 in a row in the top 10. Now with Step by Step, This One's for the Children, Cover Girl, I'll Be Loving You, The Right Stuff, and Please Don't Go Girl already having punched their ticket, it was when Tonight entered the top 10 this week back in 1990 that set a record at the time for the New Kids and making way for an impending wave of boy bands that would hit in the 90s. On September the 19th of 1981, Simon and Garfunkel reunite in the Park. Now, 1970's Bridge Over Troubled Water was not only an incredibly successful album for the folk duo, it was their last album together. Now, they would team for specific projects over the next 10 years, notably on the single My Little Town, which appears actually on both of their solo records, as well as other events like Queen Elizabeth's Silver Jubilee. And it wasn't until the reunion concert in New York's Central Park that changed everything. 400,000 people turned out. And for those who couldn't, a record and a film. This event would prove to be a catalyst for outdoor concerts and festivals to come. And finally, it was on this day in September 23rd of 1969 that the U.S., and frankly most of the civilized world, was shaken by the news that Paul McCartney had in fact died in a car accident. The rumors swirled so greatly that many clues were purported to be hidden in the Beatles' albums and songs as proof that Paul was dead. The theory was that a contest was held to find a Paul McCartney lookalike, and the winner was William Campbell. The proof supposedly lied in songs like Strawberry Fields, supposedly a line in the background you can hear some children saying, I buried Paul. In Revolution Number 9, supposedly has the line, Turn Me On, Dead Man, if you listen closely enough. And of course, the cover of Sgt. Pepper's shows Paul with a mysterious patch on his shoulder with the initials OPP, or officially pronounced dead. apparently nobody knew what the Ontario Provincial Police was in 1969. Only one thing was clear: pure marketing gold. Thanks so much to our sponsor, Brady's Drugstore, located at 190 Chisholm Street in Bell River and 186 Talbot Street in Essex, the friendliest pharmacist in Essex County. Come talk to Tim. That's Tim Brady, pharmacist. Charles Diab has been playing music in bands, duos, and as a solo artist for over 20 years in Windsor and Essex County. And he joins us now on the set of new music today. Charles, brother, thank you for being here, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
20 years.
It's a long time. It's a long time. I wasn't good at anything else. So I tried dancing. I tried hula hoop competitions. I tried eating competition. I did okay at that, but
yeah,
the one thing that always seemed to connect was music, always. So I don't know who said that old saying, stick with what you know.
Right.
And you can make a life out of it. That's exactly what I've done. So I've just been doing that every single day. I wake up and I owe everything. I owe everything in my life to 6 strings of a guitar. So that's the only way I make money. Anytime I get paid, we buy coffees, we go places, it's because I played guitar.
Right.
Or because I taught a lesson, or basically that's it. It's the best. It's just the way too happy.
You teach lessons at,
I do, yeah.
At your own store. So you own a store called The Lesson Lounge in Leamington.
I have The Lesson Lounge, 120 Erie Street South, Unit 4, Leamington, Ontario.
Yep.
Best little music store around. So, yeah.
Let's go back 20 years. What really got it started? Beyond just playing in your bedroom and taking music lessons, but really to say I've been playing and making money, singing songs and playing guitar for 20 years. Where did it start? Was there a phone call? Was there a friend?
This is a true story. I was in the basement in Leamington, in the basement of my parents' house, talking to my mom, and the phone rings, and I answer the phone, and I hear my best friend over 20 years now, Sam Sly. He goes, Charles, it's Sam. Could you meet up with me today? And I was like, yeah, okay, man, I guess. Like, I knew him from high school, and I knew that he played, and I played a little bit here and there. So I ended up meeting with him at the waterfront, Leamington, the old waterfront bar and grill. And I get over there, and he says, yeah, you still playing guitar? And I go, yeah. He goes, I want you to play with me. I go, okay. I didn't think anything of it. The first gig that I actually played with him was in Peterborough for a wedding. I was so nervous that most of the time you thought it was just Sam playing because I was hiding behind a speaker. So you can hear like really, really terrible bending notes and stuff like that in the background, but I was behind the speaker the whole time. Fast forward now and you can't shut me up.
Right.
Sometimes Sam has to look over and be like, that's enough. What do you know what you're saying? But
right.
It's been what an awesome journey. Honest to God, best part of my life so far.
So talk to me about, is there fundamentally, philosophically a difference then in making having a life in music being a life?
Music being a life it's incredible, man. I don't know. I go around telling people all the time. Anytime anybody asks me about, did you ever see yourself doing this? And I look at them and I say, well, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I never fit with anything else. I'm not a mathlete. I'm not an athlete. I know how to play some Metallica songs, and it's just, it's the greatest. Right. I don't aspire to do anything else. And anybody who says that there isn't still a life in music anymore, because I hear that a lot now. Like, I saw Eric Clapton talking about something on TV one day, and he says, "Oh, the decline in guitars," and I was like, I love him. I think he's wonderful, but I think you're just getting old, because I still think it's on the uprise. Like, I still get excited when I see a guitar. I just caught a glimpse of it on the screen right now, and I got excited. And I forgot that it was me holding the guitar.
Right.
So
tell me about this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous.
This thing right here, this is one of the two that I have. This is the Ace Frehley Epiphone model. Now, the Gibson model would be way too out of my price range right now. but the Epiphone model is right up there. It's got 3 DiMarzio pickups, just like Ace Frehley would play all the time.
Yeah.
It's got his head on the headstock. His face on the headstock, which is a big thing. But this, and the lightning bolt inlays, it's amazing. It was made in 1999. Just an overall sweet guitar. I absolutely love it. It's
I need to hear it.
Oh man, this thing is fantastic.
I need to hear this thing. Nice.
It's beautiful. Honestly,
Nice.
It's limitless, really.
I love that you brought an Ace Frehley guitar as well, because literally, like 2 days ago. I don't want to say it's an official reunion or not, but so Gene is out on tour, and he was just at Caesars in Windsor. And if it wasn't last night, it was the night before. They were in Minneapolis, and lo and behold, Ace Frehley comes out and plays the show with him. And it's the first time Ace and Gene have been together.
Yeah.
Like,
that was a huge thing to see. And you could tell too when you saw the video clip of it. You saw the whole thing, right? His band was excited like kids in a candy store. They were like high-fiving each other and screaming and stuff. And I'm like, but you guys are backing up Gene Simmons now. But Ace Frehley comes out, I'd be screaming. I would lose my mind. First, I'd ask him to sign the guitar. Possibly my face, but mainly probably the guitar. But incredible though, and I kind of hope now that that's going to lead to something. We're all Kiss fans. I mean, there's not a guitar player that you talk to that you don't see that doesn't either have a Kiss tattoo, or they say that Ace Frehley was cited as one of their huge influences. You know, just because all those classic riffs. It's not like they were like super complicated. Some of them were, but just like some very, very simple riffs. Incredible. Like lasted a lifetime.
That really changed rock and roll
history. The
history.
whole landscape of rock and roll history. You know, I mean, you got to respect the people before, like the Beatles. Never heard anything like it. It's still number one band to this day in my mind, Beatles. Zeppelin, when Zeppelin came around, I remember when I was a kid and I heard them. I heard something the one time and I actually saw a video and I was like, what is this? This is incredible. And then it just got better and better and better, you know. In this day and age now, because I teach a lot of lessons, and a lot of the lessons I find myself teaching are classic rock songs. You don't hear a lot of stuff with people coming around and asking for any new modern music. They're always asking for stuff like Beatles, Zeppelin, Boston.
Why
Boston's
is that?
a big one. I think that kind of music just transcends all time. It's the classic stuff. It's the simple stuff. You relate to it. It's like working man's music, you know? Like the very, very basic riffs, like Boston. You got like a. I messed that up, but still, I mean, it's technically morning here, so just stuff like that, little things like that was just incredible. Like it just speaks to you every time. Every time you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's what I like
For sure.
You don't really get that when you hear Lil Wayne, although I like some of his stuff, but you don't. You know, it's not really guitar-driven stuff.
So why teach?
Oh, I remember a long time ago, somebody had asked me. They'd heard me playing like one of my favorite things ever. One of the first songs that actually got me wanting to play guitar. It was
It's Metallica, kids, by the way, just so you know.
And one of my friends said, "Can you show me that?" And I said, "Yeah, I guess so." So I showed it to him, and then I realized that I was able to talk to him in a good way that he picked it up right away. And I was like, "Oh, maybe I got something to this." And I didn't think about it for years. And then a job opportunity ended up presenting itself in Leamington at the old music store. Mm-hmm. So I was literally one page in front of students. I would.
What do you get out of being with kids and teaching them music?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best because they're a blank page.
Me, right? It's one thing to show me a cool riff, and you know, and laugh at me and let me butcher it, and right. That's one thing. But it's another thing to have, you know, a child in front of you that, you know, is hungry for knowledge of some sort and is, you know, displaying some sort of natural talent. What do you get out of it?
Well, kids now, you can hand them your phone and they can pretty much do anything with it, right? But if you give them a guitar and you show them something, that look in their eyes, that connection, nice. It's incredible. It is the best high that you could possibly get, and I love it. I see it all the time. Every time you get a kid in the room and they say, you know, I want to learn something like Iron Man, you know, basically, right? Very, very simple. But the big one is always like a.
Sure.
I can't tell you how many kids have walked in the room and said, "Well, I know how to play that Smoke on the Water song," and they'll show you. And I'm like, "That's wrong." And they're like, "How can it be wrong? My dad said that it was right." You're not my dad. And I'm like, "I'm not your dad, but I will show you. I won't lie to you." So I'll show them things, and then there's that spark. Yeah. And then next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, how much is an electric guitar? I'm going to start cutting grass, or I'm going to deliver newspapers." And They end up coming and buying an instrument.
So I want to talk about that because I think that's a very important piece here. That we're in a digital age now, and we are in a portable age. I got to have my information immediately. We all have something in our pocket.
Yeah.
This magical device that connects us to anything and everything that's available to know.
Yeah.
And we're video gamers, and we're doing these things, and you got big video games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and things like that, and you're playing a plastic guitar, just kind of slapping some buttons, and you're getting your timing down. But I mean, until you pick up a real, actual guitar, now we're talking Guitar Hero. Yeah. Now we're talking Rock Band.
The true story: I had an 8-year-old kid in Toys R Us school me on Guitar Hero. Like, just destroyed me. I was like the worst day. I actually went back looking for him because I was like, look, I practiced a little bit, and he still would have beat me. But there's, I mean, those games are cool. Some of them help you just with your coordination, your timing, and stuff like that. But there's nothing like it when you're in a room and you got an actual guitar, 6 strings, noisemaker. Now it's the real thing. Really creating. You could press red, green, blue, yellow. I think that's the color of the buttons. I'm pretty sure, but there's nothing like actually making it.
Sure.
That's the selling point for me.
Yeah,
that's the one. I like those games. I see them. I just don't play them.
Sure.
I'm a Call of Duty kind of guy.
So. Call of Duty. Yeah. Nice. Let's talk about. Let's see some of this in action. You mentioned a good mutual friend of ours, Sam Sly. This is some nice raw footage of Sam Sly and Charles Diab playing a live version of "Run to You" by Bryan Adams. This is new music today on the WePodcast Network. That was fun. Sam Sly, Charles Diab, some raw and live footage of some Bryan Adams cover. Chuck, thanks again for being here, brother. Appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
man.
We got to have some fun with this part here, because you got to know your history to know where you're going to. Is that it?
That makes sense. It actually makes sense. Yeah.
Is Bob?
It is still really technically early in the morning, but I get it. I'm with you on this. I'm not going to leave you.
All right. So, playing live is what it's all about. What's the first concert? First concert you went to?
First concert, I remember it was April the 1st, 1995, Page and Plant.
Page and Plant?
Yes.
Is the first?
Was the first one.
Of all time?
Yep. Was the first one for me. I forget how old I was.
It's getting started right.
Oh, yeah. But it was the real deal, too. It was the No Quarter tour.
Right, yeah.
I remember because I was able to get one of those.
Unplugged on that.
They did a little bit. My memory's a bit hazy because it was so long ago.
And also because it was Page Plant.
Yeah, right. I do remember the standout of that concert was Ramble On. Probably the coolest experience I ever had in my life. Because every time they said Ramble On, they'd turn the lights on. And you'd see everybody. Yeah. And then you'd see everybody trying to hide things. Anytime they turn the lights on, right? It was incredible.
Sure.
But it was... That was my very first concert. I was able to go with a really, really good friend who I still talk to this day, and his brother. His brother was like, "I'm going to drive you guys in my white Daytona with the red stripe on it," and I'll never forget that. We ended up going to the concert. I was able to score one of those $10 T-shirts that had Led Zeppelin spelt wrong in the parking lot, but I wore that thing out until, it was terrible. But one of the best shows ever. I never forget that, man. That was so good. Such a good time. Yeah. But I've been to a lot of concerts since. Like we were just at the U2 show on September the 3rd in Detroit. That was another one, the Joshua Tree. When that came out, that was 30 years ago. I remember my older brother, when he'd go to work at the Radio Shack in Leamington, I would sneak into his room and look through his tapes. I'd get the Joshua Tree tape. And I'd start listening to it. And to see it live, to see them sound as good, if not better, than they did 30 years ago, was just an experience and a half.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you know what? Let me take advantage here. The two bands that you've just mentioned, going to see, and focusing on the guitarists.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Page. We're talking about Edge. What is it that what do they bring? How do they change music for you? An entirely different style of guitar playing, and yet both, in my opinion, incredibly important to the instrument and changing what you can do with it.
Well, Page, first of all, Jimmy Page, to this day, he still does things that will freak you out and be like, how's he doing that? That's incredible. Some of the simplest guitar lines, played by him, blow your mind, right? There was that one documentary, It Might Get Loud. You could see the look.
Yeah,
Edge was in it, right?
And Edge.
You could see when he started playing, what's that one? I forget what it was. You see the look on Edge's face.
Yeah.
He looked like he was back being
like a kid again.
child.
Yeah,
He's
sure.
freaking out.
Yeah.
And I still get like that now. Right now, I just kind of felt something when I played that.
Yeah. Jump to the edge. Jump to the edge because this guy brought something to the guitar that changed it.
Yeah. Bands
don't last 30 years anymore.
No.
So what does he bring to the overall picture?
That melodic sense of when he starts playing, you know everything's going to be all right. You know the Edge can carry the whole show. When he came out, they came out to Sunday Bloody Sunday. Mm-hmm. That was it. You know, just that riff right there. He's just so cool. He's just so cool. They bring that coolness factor. You know, him, Page, the Edge, even modern bands like the guy from Weezer, Rivers Cuomo.
Sure.
He stands in one place. He's got those glasses. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah.
You know, but the Edge, he carried the whole show. Just his effects, everything. He got better as time went on. I mean, there were not some of those effects back in the day. He's just grown, and he keeps going. Yeah. He must have the most stressed out guitar tech ever because he's got drawers and drawers full of pedals and effects. But it's because of him.
So there's a scene in the movie version of Rattle and Hum.
Yeah.
And it's the band meeting B.B. King. Yeah. And they're sitting down in a coffee shop and they're talking and they're getting. It's when they first meet and they're talking about doing When Love Comes to Town, which is what they do together. And they're kind of the three of them are laughing, Bono, Edge, and BB. And BB King says, I'd never learned how to play chords.
Right.
And Bono, without missing a beat, says it's all right. Edge doesn't know how to play a solo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm just, I think of that funny story and I think of that moment because, what you said is true. Is what he brings is, the effects and this happy, melodic sense of, letting chords drive a song.
Absolutely.
U2 songs aren't about the solos. Led Zeppelin songs are about the solos. Yeah. Led Zeppelin songs are not about chords. There's a reason that there's a no stairway allowed sign.
Yeah, absolutely. Still to this day, I'm the only one who breaks the rules at the store. I play Stairway to Heaven all the time. I'm like, listen, I pay the bills here. Yeah. I'm doing it. But
all right, rock celebrity crush.
Rock celebrity crush. Does it have to be rock? Because I really like a Taylor Swift. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's a terrible thing for me to say. I know I probably got some students that are gonna see this, but like. She just has good songs. She just has good songs.
You know what?
Yeah.
Listen, that's actually 100% right because Ryan Adams, one of my favorites, does a version of her Bad Blood song. And that is not to be missed.
You get you get her version, and then he actually did her entire 1989 album. He recorded the whole thing, every single song.
Yeah, no, it speaks to the power of the songwriting and the song itself. And you know what? She knows what she knows what she's doing, and that's your celeb crush, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Okay, that's not creepy.
Little T Swift. Well, I mean, I'm not going to come out of this good at all.
All right,
so.
With your own money, the first album that you ran out, put the money down on the counter and bought, not a gift, paid your money for it.
I have to say this?
Yeah.
Rod Stewart Unplugged and Seated.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I remember standing at, I think it was the Zellers in Leamington, right? Right. I'm in there and I was like, I finally got some money, and compact discs were $22.95 at the time. They were huge money. And I remember seeing Rod Stewart Unplugged and Seated, and Eric Clapton had already done the Eric Clapton Unplugged. So I knew, I was like, there's no way I can lose my money on this. I got it, and wow, just crazy.
Now, is that a moment for you? Because see, you answer the question with a little bit of embarrass this Rod Stewart, but wait a minute, because take that back, because really you put that on and you're all of a sudden you wait a minute, this is rock and roll history here, because it's more than it's not Maggie May, and it's not just do you think I'm sexy, and the disco era that he went through, the Pink thing that he went through. I mean the guy joins Small Faces after Steve Marriott leaves the band. They add Small to it was originally the Faces, right? And then they bring him in. They bring Ronnie Wood is already in that band, right? So
and during this Unplugged thing, they bring out Ronnie Wood, and then to see them reunited and playing, and that was incredible too. That was just that was a little mind blowing. And
now, Stay With Me, just one of my favorites.
One of the best.
And people really do get it wrong when they say that it's a Rod Stewart song. It's not. That is the Small Faces.
I was just watching a little something on it last night, and I was talking to Sam about it, and he was kind of blown away. He was like, "Are you sure Rod Stewart was?" And so he looked back and he's like, "Oh no, Steve Marriott first," and then there were so many reincarnations of Faces that they added Small Faces because there were just too many people popping out and. Changing the lineup and stuff, so it was crazy. Rod Stewart was really, really good. You got to give Steve Marriott respect. He was incredible,
one of the greatest voices in rock.
Absolutely. But it's not too bad having Rod Stewart come in after. It's
the 1-2 punch, man.
Amazing.
Honestly,
definitely.
There's like in my mind, there's a grand total of 3 bands that you can say legitimately have 2 singers that and it's still the same band. It's still legit, right? I put AC/DC and Van Halen in there. That's it, right?
Yeah, not too crazy about the Axl Rose thing.
Let's not even. How long's your partnership with Sam been going on?
Oh, ever since that call, really, to the waterfront. But before that, like, we knew each other in high school, and he was really, really big into the whole music aspect of it. And I was just kind of watching him, and I was always like, man, this guy's incredible. Like, what a voice. I haven't heard another voice like it. He sings with, how some people sing with a little bit of heart. He sings with all his heart.
Nice.
And that's what made me be like, I got to play with this guy,
Well, let's see some more live, some more nice raw footage. Love it that way. And it's Sam Sly and Charles Diab doing Love Me Do by the Beatles. This is new music today on the WePodcast Network. Charles Diab, Sam Sly. Love that one. Love the harmonica work, too. It's Love Me Do, the Beatles. This is new music today. I'm Corey Robertson, and we are on the WePodcast Network with my great friend, Charles Diab. Charles, we talk a lot about, the importance of music in a person's life, making a life out of music, what you get out of it, what you get when you give music to somebody else, all of those things. What inspires you?
It's a really, really good question, actually. What inspires me is, it's not really an inspiration. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of that warm, fuzzy, tingly feeling, like the first time you heard the Beatles. That whole body buzz. That's what keeps you going. Like, I'll be driving somewhere and I'll hear a song, and this has happened a few times where I've had to pull over somewhere, let the song play through because I got to hear it. Or you're on the right track when you tear up a little bit. That's so I guess that is an inspiration, to try to hope that one day I can create something like that I'll stop and I'll have to get the shivers, the feels, and that's it. Music is the greatest thing that I have ever encountered in my entire life.
Yeah.
And
if a song has ever choked you up, if a song ever brings a tear, I say stop what you're doing and do 2 things. Live in that moment, and then go and buy that record.
Absolutely. And that's why that's why when I was a kid, I was broke all the time. A broke adult too, because you just keep going and buying things, right?
Yeah. You know, I said at the top, music has that power to transport you to places that you've been and in times of your life, and it literally transports you right back to the time that you did something with somebody or a feeling that you had, and you know, and it makes you sad, and it helps you heal, and it helps you celebrate.
When you're having a stressed out day, what's the first thing you do?
Yeah.
Most people will go home and listen to music to de-stress, right? I still do that now, even though I don't have all those stressful days all the time. I still go home. The first thing I do is I'll recline and I'll listen to music.
Yeah. So what makes you grateful for each day?
Oh my God, everything. Especially now, coming out of everything that's just happened to me in the last little while.
Yeah, you've gone through a tough time.
Oh yeah. But I mean, look, we're just a few days over the 7-month limit. I wasn't supposed to be here, so
tell me what happened. You got sick. You needed a transplant.
I got sick. I needed a liver transplant. It started in 2015. I started to get like really, really yellow. Like I had always been battling it. I wasn't sure what it was exactly, but one night, me and Sam, we were driving over to go play at the Bourbon here in Windsor, and my eyes were super yellow. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for Sam, I wouldn't be here today, because he's the one who kind of forced / threatened me to go to the hospital and get checked out. And once they checked me out, London University Hospital, best hospital around as far as I'm concerned, as far as liver transplants and any kind of transplant goes. Not to knock Windsor, but London, that's their area of expertise. They told me I didn't have that long, and that I needed a liver transplant. So I was basically on the transplant list for 2.5 weeks. So I got to carry around a little pager with me everywhere I went, stressed out that it was going to go off in the middle of the night or while I was playing a gig. There was a time when I was playing a gig and I had the pager on the mic stand in front of me. And if it was going to go off, I was going to have to stop playing right away, and I had to get to London. So it all went down February the 17th of this year. I was standing at the music store, and with my sister Diane, who I love very, very much. She was my saving grace in that whole situation and beyond that to this day. And they called me and said, you have a few hours to get to London. So I got to London, got prepped, and 1:30 in the morning on February the 18th, they did the transplant. It was 7.5-hour surgery. I was walking in 3 days, and I'm here with you now. It's awesome. Like going through something like that, like I got beat up pretty bad there for a little bit, but
that is I truly cannot imagine. I can only empathize when somebody looks at you and says, you don't have much time.
Oh yeah.
You're a young guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was the scariest thing ever. It was the scariest thing, but what I did was I still played gigs and stuff up until pretty much close to the transplant. We didn't know when I was going to get the call, but I still went and I played all the time. But I enjoyed it that much more. Every time we played, I'd look over at Sam and be like, if this is one of the last times that we're going to do this, this is awesome. This is great. I'm thankful for everything. But now when I play with him, I'll look over and I'll be like, man, you think your guitar's a little too loud, or what? You want to turn it down a little bit now? I'm back. So it's back to complaining and not being happy about things. And I'm like, is it you or me? One of us is out of tune. So yeah, I'm just so thankful for everything. Every day now, every single day, every morning, every night, every day that I wake up, I giggle a little bit. I'll just laugh because I get to do this all over again. Nice. When I get to go to the store, I get to be at the shop. I feel like it's an extension of home. Hey, everything feels okay, but when I get to the shop, I'm home. Every time we're gonna play a gig, the very first note, I'm nervous. It's been like that for 20 years now. I'm nervous right up until I hit the very top string, and then I'm like, oh, I'm home. I feel comfortable. I feel in my element. I feel good just sitting with the guitar right now. Believe me, if I could drive with this thing without getting into an accident, I would. But I know it's probably not legal. So. Is it?
Those are the things that make it worth living, man.
Yeah.
That's what, right? Being nervous.
Oh, yeah.
Getting butterflies.
Yeah.
Confronting it, and then just going and striking that chord.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is that you do.
Exactly.
In life. Those are the things. Do you have a new lease on life?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Everything is so much better now. The fact that I even get a chance to live, I think back at everything that's happened in the last 7 months, and That's it. Just wow. I was walking, I think 3 or 4 days after the surgery. The surgeon came in and he said, "Oh yeah," he says, "you didn't have a lot of time." And I said, "Well, I knew that." He says, "Now I bought you a little more time." And we laughed. And then I kept asking, when do I get a sandwich? And they said, you got to wait about 6 days. And believe me, I waited. Now I'll eat everybody's sandwich in the room. But, it's I'm just lucky. I'm fortunate. I know some people on the transplant list right now that have been waiting for 2 years, going through all kinds of different treatments and stuff like that. My 2.5 weeks were the luckiest 2.5 weeks ever.
What can we do to help?
First of all, I mean, you could go to, if you're not a donor already, it would be amazing if you went to beadonor.ca, signed up. They have a shirt at the hospital that says, heaven knows we don't need organs there. They could be used down here. And that's very, very important. I didn't know what the whole importance of organ donations were. But whoever it was that ended up being able to sacrifice and give me their liver also saved other people that night too. Just by being a donor. It's not just one part that goes out of the body and goes to another. That person probably saved about 4 or 5 lives. And I'm one of them. And I tell people all the time, I mean, when you pass away, I understand if you can help somebody to continue living, like I get a chance to come here and be with you. I get a chance to work. I get a chance to play. I get a chance to do everything because of organ donations. And it's so, so important. And if you can donate in any way, that would be pretty incredible. I'm living proof that it actually works. I'm back. Thank God. Very, very lucky.
Glad to have you, brother.
Man, no idea. Honestly,
Absolutely,
thank you
man.
very, very much.
Absolutely.
Above all else, this is so cool, man. I appreciate you having me on the show too and everything. So
it's absolutely a pleasure.
Yeah.
We sure do appreciate you, and thank you for sharing.
Absolutely,
I know
man.
it's a personal thing. Beadonor.ca.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we'll just do a outro at this point. I think.
Absolutely.
We'll just do a wrap up here and plug the sponsor.
So you're not doing a third song there?
No, we've just got the 2 videos for you, and
we've talked a lot.
Yeah, we've talked a lot.
Yeah.
That's fine.
This one was a talkie episode.
Yeah, this is great.
All right, I'll give you 10 seconds.
Thank you.
You can go right into the
All right.
outro.
New music today on the WePodcast Network has been sponsored this time around by Brady's Drugstore. They are located at 190 Chisholm Street in Bell River. I mean, if you're going to get anything right, get the sponsor right. Yeah. New music today has been sponsored by Brady's Drugstore, located at 190 Chisholm Street in Bell River.
Here, give me let's redo that. Give me the
Outtakes.
5 seconds.
Yep.
Get a transition in there.
Yep. New music today on the WePodcast Network is sponsored this time around by Brady's Drugstore, located at 190 Chisholm Street in Bell River, as well as 186 Talbot in Essex, the friendliest pharmacist in Essex County. Come talk to Tim. It's Tim Brady, pharmacist. And thank you so much for the sponsorship. By sponsoring the show, it means you're also supporting local, and specifically it means you're sponsoring and supporting local music. Thank you, Charles Diab. Appreciate your time very much.
Thank you.
Glad to have you in the studio. Christy Palazzolo lined up. She is nominated for a BizX Artist of the Year award. She's lined up to join me next time on New Music Today. If you would like to be a part of the podcast, including the in-studio sessions, as well as the audio show, just shoot me off an email. It's Corey, that's C-O-R-E-Y, Corey at newmusictoday.ca. I'm looking for your music as well as your live performances. This is New Music Today on the WePodcast Network. I'm Corey Robertson.